Is Ellen DeGeneres a huge racist for posting this meme on Twitter? Some people are saying so. Let's take a look at this tweet right now. It features Usain Bolt, who is the gold medal winner in the 100-meter race at the Rio Olympics. Under that picture, she said, "This is how I'm running errands from now on," and Twitter really didn't like it. I'm going to read some of the responses, and then Hasan and I are going to discuss. So one Twitter user said, "So riding on his back like a mule, a horse as some form of property is fun to you, ... okay, period." Another person said, "An apology won't do. This is utterly fucking ridiculous. How dare you?" Other people responded to those negative tweets saying, "What's wrong with it? She's saying he's fast, nothing more, nothing less." Another user went on to say, "You guys are being mad petty over something so damn simple. Ellen is a nice and generous person. She isn't being racist." Now, Ellen saw the controversy and responded from her Twitter account saying, "I am highly aware of the racism that exists in our country. It is the furthest thing from who I am." And yeah, I think she's just trying to put this to rest. Hasan, what do you think about this controversy? Were you surprised?
It's manufactured outrage. I say this all the freaking time, even though ironically a lot of people call me a social justice warrior. It's like I personally don't see anything wrong with this photo. Then again, I'm not black or African, and I don't understand why a person would be offended by it, but I guess maybe there's reasons for it. You mentioned something about like Civil War era images depicting black slaves carrying white children around?
So I think it's important just to provide context for everything when you're researching, especially Twitter outrage. Because for me, it's always so important to remember that people's feelings are not right or wrong, they just are. And you can't invalidate someone's feelings. If someone felt offended, they're entitled to those feelings. And you make a good point saying that we are not people of color. How are we to, all of a sudden be like, you can't be offended, So I did do a little research on Twitter of what people that were offended were saying, and they were posting some pictures from Civil War era times, just from a long, long time ago, of kids riding black people, of slave owners riding their black slaves, just as a joke and having their photo taken. And yeah, that sucks. And to look at the photos, there is obviously a parallel. But I also think that Amir, before we went to tape, made a really good point saying, would this outrage have been the same thing if Ellen had said, if she was getting to work in New York, morning commute, and she was taking the ferry and she was riding Michael Phelps, and that's just a question that we can discuss in the comment section below.
So, here's one other thing I want to mention.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a pretty decent barometer for whether something is genuinely, openly, and outwardly racist,
right?
Or not, and that is that. The fact that you had to research something because you were like, I don't know if this is racist or not, but I'm gonna go research this thing that is not very commonly known to find something wrong with this image. I'm not saying you did that, you were covering the story.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you probably saw some tweets that were like, this is what it looks like. But I know that no one was thinking that when they posted this photo.
Mm-hmm.
You need to think of this person's intentions when they're publishing something. If Donald Trump posted that photo, we would be having a very different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because Donald Trump has made remarks about immigrants, he's made remarks about Mexicans in a non-favorable way. Ellen DeGeneres has no history of racism whatsoever. And then she's not. And then when you pair that with this photo, that obviously it could not be further from the truth. Could not be further from any sort of racism. It seems so ridiculous to me. And it's again another instance of people going, me, look at me. This is how I feel about this certain issue. I need my voice to be heard. Everyone look at me. Are you gonna favorite and like this? Are you guys gonna like this tweet? Because this is how I feel about it.
Yeah, I definitely hear you on intention, but for me it comes down to intention doesn't negate perception. So we perceived this in a certain way, but other people are allowed to have, perceived it in their own way. And I just don't want anyone to feel like we are invalidating those feelings. And I also think that as a comedian, and Ellen is one of the biggest comedians of all time, you're gonna make jokes that offend people. And I think that she did a good job of of rolling with it, of saying, you know what, that wasn't my intention. I was trying to make a joke. Maybe people felt like it was in poor taste, but that's not what I meant by it. Let's move on and learn from it. And hopefully she'll be more, I guess cautious of what she posts in the future. But comedy is you're always supposed to toe that line. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But I don't think that she thought that she was towing the line, like you were saying, with intention. I think
it wasn't
that
even
she thought
that.
this was harmless.
To be honest, like it wasn't even that funny. Like I like the caption when you pair up the image with the caption itself, you're like, I think you could have gone a different route than, you know, running my errands like this. And I kind of maybe understand a little bit why people could even pick this thing apart. Because like if it had a different caption that was like unrelated to running errands, maybe if it was something like running away from my haters, like, or something like that, even though Ellen DeGeneres probably would never say that. But if it was something like that, where it was like a meme on its in and of itself, instead of something that's like so normal, maybe people couldn't even like have that like weird trigger that they have in their brains where they could be like, this is racist. I know that's right. I found it. It's racist. I caught you. Like, I know you're racist. Everyone look at me. This is how I feel about it. That isn't to say that there aren't racist people out there, especially on Twitter. I get attacked by them all the time.
Okay.
Yes, I do, for being on the Young Turks and being Muslim. Like, even though I'm not really religious. No, it's like, you Turk roach, you Muslim terrorist.
All right, guys, Twitter is a gross place, but we want to hear from you in the comment section below.
Gross.
Oh, actually, you know what? Twitter can be a fun place, too.
Not really. Unless you're following Grace Baldridge. Her tweets are delectable.
They're fine. Guys, let us know in the comment section below. What did you think
comment.
about this tweet? Did you think that it was offensive? Were you offended by it? Do you think it was no big deal? We want to hear from you. This is Hasan Piker. I'm Grace Baldridge. We'll see you next time on Pop Trigger.